Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayana Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiriye Nashtupraheshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. So continuing with the discussion on Krishna book, chapter 88, the deliverance of Lord Shiva. So continuing with Prabhupada's commentary. As for the benedictions given by demigods, like Lord Shiva, there is a following historical incident cited by great sages. Once Lord Shiva, after giving a benediction to a demon named Vrikasura, the son of Shakuni, was himself entrapped in a very dangerous position. Vrikasura was searching after a benediction and trying to decide which of the three presiding deities to worship in order to get it. In the meantime, he happened to meet the great sage Narad and consulted with him as to whom he should approach to achieve quick results from his austerity. He inquired of the three deities, namely Lord Brahma, Lord Vishnu, and Lord Shiva, who is most quickly satisfied. Narad could understand the plan of the demon and he advised him, you had better worship Lord Shiva, then you will quickly get the desired result. Lord Shiva is very quickly satisfied and very quickly dissatisfied also. So you should try to satisfy Lord Shiva. Narad also cited instances wherein demons like Ravan and Manasur were enriched with great opulences simply by satisfying Lord Shiva with prayers. Because the great sage Narad was aware of the nature of the demon Vrikasura, he did not advise him to approach Vishnu or Lord Brahma. Persons such as Vrikasura, who are situated in the material mode of ignorance, cannot stick to the worship of Vishnu. So Narad Muni knew what his desires were. So he asked him to pray to Lord Shiva. After receiving instructions from Narad, and Narad Muni, look at him. He is being worshipped, he is being honored, he is respected by demons and devotees alike, demigods also. Everybody respects Narad Muni. See, Brikasura, such a big demon, but he's asking Narad Muni and he followed his advice. After receiving instruction from Narad, the demon Vrikasura went to Kedarnath. The pilgrimage site of Kedarnath still exists near Kashmir. It's almost always covered by snow, but for part of the year, during the month of July, it is possible to see the deity, and devotees go there to offer their respects. Kedarnath is for the devotees of Lord Shiva. According to the Vedic principle, when something is offered to the deities to eat, it is offered in a fire. Therefore, a fire sacrifice is necessary in all sorts of ceremonies. It is specifically stated in the Shastras that gods are to be offered something to eat through the fire. The demon Vrikasura therefore went to Kedarnath and ignited a sacrificial fire to please Lord Shiva. After igniting the fire in the name of Lord Shiva to please him, Vrikasura began to offer his own flesh by cutting it from his body. Now, here is an instance of worship in the mode of ignorance. In the Bhagavad Gita, different types of sacrifices are mentioned. Some sacrifices are in the mode of goodness, some are in the mode of passion, and some are in the mode of ignorance. There are different kinds of tapasya and worship because there are different kinds of people within this world. But the ultimate tapasya, Krishna consciousness, is the topmost yoga and the topmost sacrifice. As confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita, the topmost yoga is to think always of Lord Krishna within the heart. And the topmost sacrifice is to perform the Sankirtan Yajna. So that is a sacrifice recommended in Kali Yuga. But not this cutting of his own flesh and offering it in the fire of sacrifice. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is stated that the worshippers of the demigods have lost their intelligence. As revealed later in this chapter, Vrikasura wanted to satisfy Lord Shiva for a third class materialistic objective, which was temporary and without real benefit. The asuras, or persons within the mode of ignorance, will accept such benedictions from the demigods. In complete contrast to this sacrifice in the mode of ignorance, the Archana Vidhi process for worshipping Lord Vishnu or Krishna is very simple. Lord Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita that he accepts from his devotee even a little fruit, a flower, or some water, which can be gathered by any person, rich or poor. Of course, those who are rich are not expected to offer only a little water, a little piece of fruit, or a little leaf to the Lord. A rich man should offer according to his position. But if the devotee happens to be a very poor man, the Lord will accept even the most meager offering. So the Lord is not asking that you offer me flesh cut off from your body and this is the best tapasya. Krishna clearly says, Patram Pushpam Phalam Toyam in Bhagavad Gita. So he accepts that offering, and actually along with or in the offering, the love part is the one that he accepts. How much love we have towards him. The worship of Lord Vishnu or Krishna is very simple and it can be executed by anyone in this world. But worship in the mode of ignorance, as exhibited by Vrikasura, is not only very difficult and painful, but is also useless based on time. Because the result one gets by this kind of offering, this kind of sacrifice, this kind of worship is only temporary and it's very painful. Therefore, the Bhagavad Gita says that the worship of demigods, the worshippers of the demigods are bereft of intelligence. The process of worship is very difficult. And at the same time, the results obtained is flickering and temporary. So this is the results obtained by worshipping of demigods. Although Vrikasur continued his sacrifice for 6 days, he was unable to personally see Lord Shiva, which was his objective. He wanted to see him face to face and ask him for a benediction. Here is another contrast between demons and devotees. A devotee is confident that whatever he offers to the deity in full devotional service is accepted by the Lord. But the demon wants to see his worshipable deity face to face so that he can directly take the benediction. But the devotees, they don't ask for any benediction. A devotee does not worship Vishnu or Lord Krishna for any benediction. Therefore, a devotee is called akama, free of desire. And a non-devotee is called sarvakama, or desirous of everything. On the 7th day, the demon Vrikasur decided that he should cut off his head and offer it to satisfy Lord Shiva. Thus, he took a bath in a nearby lake, and without drying his body and hair, he prepared to cut off his head. According to the Vedic system, an animal to be offered as a sacrifice has to be bathed first. And while the animal is wet, it is sacrificed. So Vrikasur tried to follow that method. When the demon was thus preparing to cut off his head, Lord Shiva became very compassionate. So he didn't appear for 6 days, but 7th day, he saw this guy is just going to cut off his head. He's going to kill himself. This compassion is a symptom of the quality of goodness. Lord Shiva is called Trilinga, a mixture of the 3 material qualities. Therefore, his manifestation of the nature of compassion is a sign of the quality of goodness. Compassion, however, is present in every living entity. because this is the intrinsic nature of the soul. It's there. It's just we don't use it very often, but it's there in every soul. The compassion of Lord Shiva was aroused not because the demon was offering his flesh into the sacrificial fire, but because he was about to commit suicide. This is natural compassion. Even if a common man sees someone preparing to commit suicide, he will try to save him. He does so automatically. There is no need to appeal to him. Therefore, when Lord Shiva appeared from the fire to check the demon from suicide, it was not done as a very great favor to him. It was natural for Lord Shiva to display compassion towards Vrikasura. Lord Shiva's touch saved the demon from committing suicide. His bodily injuries immediately healed and his body became as it was before. So, another potency of Lord Shiva. And these potencies are there. Almost all demigods have it. And sometimes some devotees also have it. And this is by the mercy of the Lord. Then Lord Shiva told the demon, "My dear Vrikasura, you don't need to cut off your head. You may ask from me any benediction you like, and I shall fulfill your desire. I do not know why you wanted to cut off your head to satisfy me. I become satisfied even by an offering of a little water." This is Lord Shiva. Or his devotees, they offer him that bel patta, three leaves together. Actually, according to the Vedic process, the Shivalinga in the temple or the form of Lord Shiva in the temple is worshipped simply by offering Ganges water. Because it is said that Lord Shiva is greatly satisfied when Ganges water is poured upon his head. Generally, devotees offer Ganges water and the leaves of the Bilva tree, which are specially meant for offering to Lord Shiva and Goddess Durga. The fruit of this tree is also offered to Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva assured Vrikasura that he is satisfied by a very simple process of worship. Why then was he so eager to cut off his head? And why was he taking so much pain by cutting his body to pieces and offering it in the fire? There was no need of such severe penances. Anyway, out of compassion and sympathy, Lord Shiva prepared to give him any benediction he liked. So he said, "Don't do all this. Such severe austerity and such severe penance. I'll give you whatever benediction you want." So now, after pleasing Lord Shiva, and after doing so much of penance and austerity, and he was ready to cut off his head, we would think that he would ask for something great, something that is beneficial for the human society or for the whole society. But no. When the demon was offered this facility by Lord Shiva, he asked for a fearful and abominable benediction. The demon was very sinful, and sinful persons do not know what sort of benediction should be asked from the deity. Therefore, he asked Lord Shiva to bless him with such power that as soon as he would touch anyone's head, it would immediately crack and the man would die. After all this sacrifice, and he was ready to cut off his head also, what did he ask? "Oh, please give me the benediction that I touch anybody's head with my hand and his head should immediately crack and the man should die." What's the use? The demons are described in the Bhagavad Gita as dushkritis or miscreants. Kriti means very meritorious, but when duh is added to it, means abominable. It's really abominable. Instead of surrendering unto the Supreme Personality of God, the dushkritis worship different demigods to derive abominable material benefits. Although the dushkritis have brain power and merit, the merit and brain power are used for abominable activities. Sometimes, for example, materialistic scientists invent a lethal weapon. The scientific research for such an invention certainly requires a very good brain, but instead of inventing something beneficial to human society, they invent something to accelerate death, which is already assured to every man. So lethal weapon like atomic weapon, nuclear weapons, and so many other things. I mean, there are so many great minds, great brains are there all over the world. But what kind of things they are preparing or inventing? And what will happen by the use of all these lethal weapons? The people are going to die faster than they're supposed to. And this is what Prabhupada said. Everybody is already assured to die. It's just they're going to accelerate the death process. They cannot meritorious power by inventing something which can save man from death. Instead, they invent weapons which accelerate the process of death. Similarly, Vrikasura, instead of asking Lord Shiva for something beneficial to the human society, asked for something very dangerous to human society. And demons, this is why they're demons. They're always thinking for themselves. I should be benefited. My senses should be gratified. I should be able to enjoy, control everything. That is demoniac. And this is why he asked, so that he could kill anybody and everybody whenever he wants to and enjoy his property. Lord Shiva is powerful enough to give any benediction, so the demon could have asked something beneficial from him, but for his personal interest, he asked that anyone whose head would be touched by his hand would at once die. Lord Shiva could understand the motive of the demon, and he was very sorry that he has assumed, he had assured him whatever benediction he liked. He could not withdraw his promise, but he was very sorry in his heart that he was to offer him a benediction so dangerous to human society. Devotees of the personality of Godhead never ask any benediction from Lord Vishnu or Krishna. And even if they ask something from the Lord, it's not at all dangerous for human society. That's the difference between the demons and the devotees, or the worshippers of Lord Shiva and worshippers of Lord Vishnu. It's a huge, huge difference. While Shukdev Goswami was narrating the history of Vrikasura, he addressed Maharaj Parikshit as Bharat, referring to King Parikshit's birth in a family of devotees. Maharaj Parikshit was saved by Lord Krishna while in his mother's womb. Later, he could have asked Lord Krishna to save him again from the curse of a Brahman, but he did not do so. The demon, however, wanted to become immortal by killing everyone with the touch of his hand. Lord Shiva could understand this, but because he had promised, he gave him the benediction. The demon, however, being very sinful, what did he do? Immediately decided that he would use the benediction to kill Lord Shiva and take away Gauri or Parvati for his personal enjoyment. This is demoniac mentality, and this is their program. He immediately decided to place his hand on the head of Lord Shiva. Just few moments ago, he was ready to cut off his head and offer it to Lord Shiva, and then he was begging Lord Shiva for some benediction. Now he's ready to kill Lord Shiva. This is demoniac. Thus, Lord Shiva was put into an awkward position because he was endangered by his own benediction to a demon. This is an instance of a materialistic devotees misusing the power derived from the demigods. Without further deliberation, the demon Vrikasura approached Lord Shiva to place his hand on Lord Shiva's head. Lord Shiva was so afraid of him that his body trembled, and he fled from the land to the sky and from the sky to other planets. until he reached the limits of the universe above the higher planetary systems. Lord Shiva fled from one place to another, but the demon Brikasur continued to chase him. The predominating deities of other planets, such as Brahma, Indra, and Chandra, could not find any way to save Lord Shiva from the impending danger. Wherever Lord Shiva went, they remained silent because Brikasur was always behind Lord Shiva. But see, and somebody can ask why Lord Shiva did not just kill him? Why he had to run away? Because this guy had just pleased Lord Shiva. He was I don't want to say devotee, but worshipper of Lord Shiva. So Lord Shiva, first of all, didn't want to take the benediction away and didn't want to kill him either. So he ran away. We can only imagine the situation. Lord Shiva is running from planet to planet. Brikasur is behind him with his hand held out. Oh, I'm going to touch your head. I'm going to touch your head. At last, Lord Shiva approached Lord Vishnu, who is situated within this universe on the planet known as Shvetadvip. Shvetadvip is a local Vaikuntha planet beyond the jurisdiction of the influence of external energy. Lord Vishnu in his all-pervasive feature remains everywhere, but wherever he remains personally is the Vaikuntha atmosphere. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is stated that the Lord remains within the heart of all living entities. As such, the Lord remains within the heart of many low-born living entities, but that does not mean he is low-born. Wherever he remains is transformed into Vaikuntha. So the planet within this universe known as Shvetadvip is also Vaikuntha Loka. It is said in the Shastras that residential quarters within the forest are in the mode of goodness. Residential quarters in big cities, towns and villages are in the mode of passion, and residential quarters in an atmosphere wherein indulgence in four sinful activities of illicit sex, intoxication, meat eating, and gambling with these four activities predominate, are in the mode of ignorance. But residential quarters in a temple of Vishnu, the Supreme Lord, are in Vaikuntha. It doesn't matter where the temple is situated, the temple itself, wherever it may be, is Vaikuntha. Similarly, the Shvetadvip planet, although within the material jurisdiction, is Vaikuntha. So this is what Prabhupada also said, wherever the temples of ISKCON are the embassies of the spiritual world. So they are not different from Vaikuntha. But we have to see if we are qualified to live in the temple. Or we have to make ourselves qualified. We have to prepare ourselves as Vaikuntha people. Lord Shiva finally entered Shvetadvip, Vaikuntha. In Shvetadvip, there are great saintly persons who are completely freed from the envious nature of the material world and are beyond the jurisdiction of the four principles of material activity, namely religiosity, economic development, sense gratification, and liberation. Dharma, artha, kama, moksha. So they are beyond the jurisdiction. Anyone who enters into that Vaikuntha planet never returns to this material world. Lord Narayan is celebrated as a lover of his devotees. And as soon as he understood that Lord Shiva was in great danger, he appeared as a brahmachari and personally approached Lord Shiva to receive him from a distant place. The Lord appeared as a perfect brahmachari with the belt around his waist, a sacred thread, a deer skin, a brahmachari stick, and Rudra beads. Rudra beads are different from Tulsi beads. Rudra beads are used by the devotees of Lord Shiva. So dressed as a brahmachari, Lord Narayan stood before Lord Shiva. The shining effulgence emanating from his body attracted not only Lord Shiva, but also the demon Brikasura. So some places it is said he appeared as a brahmachari, and some places that he appeared as a very beautiful lady. But Either way, the purpose is to save Lord Shiva from such an awkward position and to kill this demon, Trikasura. So I guess we'll stop here. See anybody has any questions or comments? Okay, so you all have a safe and wonderful day. Hare Krishna. Jai Shri Ram.
Hare